Welcome to Evolve Your Life, the podcast where values meet vision, ambition meets alignment, and family fuels your purpose. I'm Dr. Stefanie Ascher, chiropractor, entrepreneur, homeschool mom, cancer warrior, and your go-to girl for building harmony in every area of life. Around here, women step into living fully and authentically, and we believe you are capable and worthy of it all. So grab your coffee, get cozy, and let's evolve your life together. Hey, love. Welcome back to Evolve Your Life. I am excited to share with you today about a realization that I had at the end of last year. I ended the year on such a high. There were so many wins. There was so much growth, so many goals met, and yet I didn't feel proud, not in the way that I expected to. I remember thinking, okay, so now what? And that question made me realize that something was very off. And I want to talk about that today because I don't think I'm the only one who feels this way. There was a big disconnect for me after success. I thought the wins would feel like a rival. I expected to feel fulfillment and relief and satisfaction and so proud. And instead, my mind immediately moved forward. And I don't think I also sat in the feeling of how abundant the success and the goals really were. I had set the goals, I held the standards, I carry the vision, and when those goals are met, I don't pause. I tend to just move on. And it's not because of dissatisfaction. It's not because of a lack of gratitude. It's momentum without integration. And what made this even more interesting is that I did feel pride, just not where I expected it. When I was looking back at the year and the goals that we reached and the accomplishments that we had, I felt so much pride in my team, pride in the culture of the office, and how far the business has come, especially over the last 2 to 3 years. I loved watching my team grow in size, but also in leadership, in ability, in skill sets. I loved looking back on how they stepped up, how they thrived, the ability for them to run the office without me. I was so proud of the ideal clients that we attracted this past year. Overall, I was so proud of all that Evolve was. The growth was huge. We ended the year at 30% growth, which for our company where we are at, that's big for a company that's at our level to be having 30% growth year after year. I was so proud that we expanded our team, that everybody got raises and promotions. I was so proud of our new building and to share that with all of our patients and to paint the picture of Evolve 2.0. I was so proud that I've grown this business with my husband, and I'm so proud of him and all that he pours into it. But when it came to myself, I didn't really feel proud at all. When you're the one who sets the expectations, meeting them doesn't feel exceptional. It feels expected. And I wasn't waiting for applause. I wasn't seeking validation. I just didn't let it land for me. I just didn't really sit in it. And that's when I realized the issue wasn't success. It was what I was using success for. Achievement, I realized, has never actually been my deepest source of fulfillment. And so this was something I had to really sit in. And I had deep conversations about this with Steve. And then I even called my parents because I know if there is anybody that I can call for them to just tell me that they're proud of me, it's my parents. And so I called them and I shared with them the growth and the goals that we achieved for the year. And they started telling me how proud they were. And I was talking to my dad and we had circled back in conversation. And he said, I'm so amazed and I'm so proud of all that you have done and all that you are. And I said to him, that's honestly why I called you, because I'm sitting here and I'm just not feeling proud. And I know that I am proud, but I just needed to hear it from somebody. What I have realized when I set goals for myself is that I expect to achieve them. I set goals that are realistic, that are attainable, that also stretch me. But I am very clear when I set a goal that I am going to achieve it. And I maybe don't always achieve it in the timeline that I initially desire, but I know it will be achieved. And so the achievement typically gives me momentum to continue pushing forward for what's next. But feeling a sense of fulfillment gives meaning to the work and to the progress and to the goals. And the achievement helps me move forward, but the fulfillment is something that I've been lacking. I have trouble sitting and celebrating and enjoying something. And I realize that I don't want to keep living a life where fulfillment is always postponed and pushed away until the next milestone. Because at every milestone, I still haven't been feeling it. I haven't been feeling that true sense of fulfillment. And this is where I had to get really honest with myself. I realized I love the hit of dopamine that comes from accomplishment. Being productive has become the fastest way for me to feel valuable. And I love quick wins, checking boxes, getting stuff done, being needed, hitting big goals. And it's not for the applause and it's not for the approval. It's for the impact. That's why I set the goals that I make, because I've realized that even if I get the other things, it doesn't make me feel proud. It doesn't make me feel fulfilled. So even if the wins are big and it's something that other people are celebrating for me or with me, it doesn't do anything for me. After I achieved all of the goals, it was actually New Year's Eve night, and I was sitting there pondering all of this. The lack of feeling proud, even though we just hit huge milestones that previous versions of myself could have never even imagined, and I was skipping the celebration. So I needed to start asking myself different questions. And that was, what if I don't need to create more right now, but what if I need to enjoy what I've already built? And I have really been walking in the truth that I need to let the success be lived in, and I need to not rush past the seasons and just allow the joy to be enough. And I'm really having to learn how to celebrate without immediately planning the next thing, because after every dopamine hit, after every goal that's achieved, the first question is, what's next? Instead of, how am I going to celebrate? Or sitting in gratitude for the win and the accomplishments and the growth. Even if it's so deeply satisfying, it's always directly onto the next thing. And so I had to have a shift where I'm not striving for achievement, but I'm really striving for fulfillment. And so let's talk honestly about celebration as a practice, because I know a lot of you high achievers can absolutely relate to this. I've actually had a lot of conversations with a lot of my friends about this, because celebration can feel awkward, especially if you're still learning to sit in joy. But celebration isn't a reward. It's a form of presence and being intentional and sitting in the gratitude of exactly where we are, where we've been, without thinking about where we're going next. Everybody's version of celebration may look different. I think it's important to name our wins out loud and to share them with people so that we can further the impact and the mission and the vision. And it's not about seeking the applause, but it's about seeking the impact. And everybody might need to celebrate a different way. For some people, it's going out and buying a bougie, expensive handbag, which I've enjoyed celebrating wins that way before, but I still didn't find fulfillment in it. This time I did it differently. I bought some new towels. I bought some new clothes. I started thinking about what trips I wanted to go on this year. It was a small celebration, but the biggest celebration was just sitting there and allowing myself to feel proud without thinking about and planning for what's next. So if you're someone who always moves the finish line, if rest feels uncomfortable, if celebration feels awkward, you're not broken. You might just be learning that fulfillment doesn't come from the next goal. It comes from allowing yourself to stay present and grounded in exactly where you're at. And that's the season I'm choosing now. I'd love to know what's something you've accomplished that you've never really let yourself celebrate? And what are some ways that you love to celebrate? Big, small, and everything in between. Thanks for hanging out with me today on Evolve Your Life. If this episode inspired you, leave a review, share it with a friend, follow so you never miss a moment, and come connect with me on Instagram at Dr. Stefanie Ascher. Until next time, keep evolving your life boldly, beautifully, and unapologetically.